Hi, everyone. This is Malin Barr from the movie Honeydew, and I'm here with the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 207. This is our 2021 year-end review. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Sam, Steve, and Joe. How are you guys doing? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. This episode's going to be tough. The list making was tough, not going to lie.
Did you overthink it? Did you stress? Were you staying up in bed, sweating?
I didn't stay up in bed, but it's just like, depending on if I wanted to base it off of my feeling, if I wanted to base it off of what I'm going to watch, what I would want to watch now, what I'm mostly connected to, like it just juggles all the way around. Like it's hard, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm just going with it.
It was a hard year. It was a hard year. I know we're going to get deep into it, but yeah, I mean, I think there's some big surprises on the ultimate list too. So I'm excited to see what everyone thinks on here. And I really cannot wait to get into it. This is my episode. I love doing the ultimate list. I love, putting it all together. And yeah, I'm really excited to get into this.
Look how happy you are today. Wow.
I am. And I'm on
Your
vacation.
Episode, excuse you. Just because you add a little math. Okay.
So,
well, you know what I mean.
He doesn't add it. He does his.
I do. Old school. I write everything down. Aggregate.
There you go. Favorite word.
Aggregate. Yes. Yeah. No. And I'm on vacation this week, so I'm able to have a drink. We record for the first time in probably 2 years, so that's always fun.
Oh, stop! 2 years.
What? Probably. Well, I can't remember the last time we recorded on a day I didn't have work, so it's been a while.
I like your energy, Joe. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, see, I keep a list all year round. So the last, I don't cram it to the last day or last couple days. The only thing is once I'm decided what my top 10 are, I kind of move them around. I did two switches from. I switched 2 and 3, and I switched, I think, 9 and 10 or something. But no, I think keeping a list all year has really helped me for episodes like this. So, piece of advice there.
And now that you can do Letterboxd correctly, it'd be that much easier.
Yeah, right. But the only thing with Letterboxd is that they don't have the same barometer than we do for what is a 2021 film. Because if a movie is released in a festival in 2020, they count it as a 2020 film. Because I was looking at my 2020, 2021 amount of films, and they're both really high, and that's because I watched a lot of festival 2020 films for my 2021 list. So it gets complicated, but so I keep my own list anyway. But yeah, Letterboxd is a huge help as well to remember what I watched, just kind of a quick rundown. A lot of my, I watched a lot of movies this year. A lot of them, I'm looking at them, I'm like, I don't even remember what this is. I have no idea what movie this was at all. So I have to go look, and I look at the poster and then a couple pictures oh yeah, right. Okay. I remember this now. It's a very helpful tool for people. I highly, highly recommend it.
Absolutely. So what'd you guys get for Christmas horror-wise?
Nothing.
All right.
I got an e-transfer for Christmas. So I just had, I'm just going to put it out here. I don't want to kill this episode with shitty talk or anything, but I didn't have a Christmas really this year. I was packing my car with the gifts to go to my family's house. They're about 2 hours away from me, and I got a call from my mom, said my grandfather has COVID. He's fine, but if he has COVID, then everyone else in my family, they all live next to each other, could potentially have COVID as well. So he's like, I don't think it's a good idea if you come. I'm already packed, and I'm like, damn, okay. And then I found out today that basically my entire family, every single member of my family, has COVID. So unfortunately I had to stay here, but you do what you do. I did buy myself stuff. It was Boxing Day in Canada, which is kind of our Black Friday, which is the day after Christmas. And I bought myself the Critters collection. I bought myself the Child's Play collection, Toxic Avenger I bought a couple days ago. And yeah, it's just stuff like that. I got a movie that Todd has been recommending, An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, and just stuff like that. So I will get some horror but I had to kind of buy them myself.
Oh, sorry to hear about that, buddy. But at least everyone's recovering.
Yeah, that's rough.
I have a question for Joe. Did you buy Sam a Switch, Nintendo Switch?
I did not.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
Moving
for
on.
Valentine's Day, Todd.
Maybe a couple months away.
Yeah, there you go.
My mother bought me some horror pillows with like a bunch of classic horror, I guess, posters for it. Those are really cool. Then outside of that, I mean, I got a couple books from the authors I follow, but I didn't really ask for a lot this year. I got a lot of non-horror stuff, like old man stuff. Like I got a freaking butter churner so I can make my own butter. That's exciting.
That is exciting.
How old are you?
I know, it's like this year.
You're whittling. You're getting a butter churner for Christmas. Goddamn.
Yeah, this year I really like. I don't know. Embraced my old. I'm 34, but like embraced my old age where I started whittling fucking spoons. I'm gonna make butter. I want to make bread. It's like, I don't know, but it's fun. What about you guys?
I don't think Sam got anything horror-wise, right?
Mm-mm.
I don't think. A couple of Halloween-y things, but Sam got me a Reagan reaction figure. That's pretty cool. Her like head is backward, like she like her like the back of her body's facing forward and her head's like turned. It's pretty cool. And then my brother got me a nun, one of those. God, what are they, like the MDS stylized Mezco figures?
The ones that look like little dolls. Those ones.
I don't know. They got like big heads but little bodies. Like I don't know. It's pretty cool though. I'll send you a picture. But that's pretty cool. And I think that really was it horror wise. And then Sam got me a nice pair of wireless headphones that I was needing because my phone, I got a new phone and I didn't realize that they've taken headphone jacks out of phones now. So now you need wireless, you know, it's another way for them to get you, I guess. But yeah, so pretty cool.
You got those Camp Crystal slides that are pretty cool.
That's right. I did. I got a pair of Camp Crystal like slippers, which I've never seen before. So yeah, those are fun too. I guess more flip-flops than slippers, right?
Very nice. All right, you guys ready to get into the questions before we start our 2021 review?
Let's do it.
Awesome. You can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast, or of course on our Discord. This was the year that we started our Discord, and honestly, that's probably the best thing we did on the podcast this year, in my opinion. Very cool to meet all the people who joined us there and continuing to talk horror with us and all sorts of other subjects. Really appreciate every single person in that group. If you'd like to be part of it, just send us a message. We will send you the link, and I promise you, it's nothing but great people in there. So highly recommend it. And speaking of our Discord, we got 3 audio questions this week, which is really awesome. I like that people are embracing the audio questions. So the first one is actually from Weezerface. So Weezerface, what is your question?
Hi, squad. It's Weezerface, long-time listener, first-time audio question sender-inner. So my question is, are there any horror movie moments that bother you more than the horror in the movie itself? Examples for me are like in The Exorcist when they're doing all those medical tests on Reagan and they stick that weird needle thing in her neck. That's disturbing to me and it sticks with me worse than the demon stuff. Or also in Carrie when she comes home from the prom all covered in pig blood and she decides to take a bath to get it off of her instead of like a shower or something. She ends up just sitting in a pool of watered down blood, which is disgusting. So are there any horror movie moments that stick with you like that?
There's a movie called Dead Kids, where this like 17-year-old-ish boy trims his toenails on the dinner table, which is gross when they're eating, actually breakfast table because they're eating breakfast. So that's disgusting. And then in what's the freaking name of the movie? House on the Hill, the remake. In the beginning where like the patients escape and they're doing live, I guess, whatever, cutting people open. That's always gross. That's the worst part of that movie for me.
Oh man, that's a great question. There's nothing that's like popping in my head right now, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head either.
One thing that I hate in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example, it's not even like Leatherface at killing people and like putting them on hooks. It's when I think it's in the, I don't remember if it's in the original, but it's definitely in the remake. The person is like scraping their nails on the ground and their nails like start coming off and stuff. That I can't tolerate nails. Nails and eyeballs are the two things I have a really hard time with in horror movies, like more so than the horror itself. That's just, I could feel it. Like I could feel it in my nails when I'm watching it. So yeah, that would definitely be my answer. Just thinking about it's giving me like the creeps. So thank you, Weezerface, for the question. Next up, we got horror fan Ryan.
It's horror fan Ryan. Wanted to get in one of these audio question clips for the year-end show. I just first off wanted to thank you guys for all the hard work that you guys do week in, week out doing this show. I'm sure it's not easy every week doing a podcast, but they always turn out great. So thank you guys for that. I guess really the only question I have for the year end is what you look forward to in 2022 with this podcast. Is there any upcoming changes or any kind of interviews that you guys are looking to do or hoping to get? And so that's about it. Just want to thank you guys and hope you guys all have a good 2022. And all the listeners out there, I really enjoy interacting with you guys either on Twitter or on the Discord. So it makes this a very fun community to be a part of. So thank you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. Maybe like do something a little fresh here and there, but I mean, yeah, I think everything's been going pretty well. There is a potential for a very big guess. I'm not going to say anything, but we did get an email regarding it, and it would be huge. It would be the biggest guess we ever got. So I'm really hopeful we're going to get that guess. I'm like not extremely like confident, but like I really do think it might happen. So we will see.
Yeah, totally. I know who that guest is, and yeah, it would definitely be the biggest guest we've ever had. And it's not a case of us reaching out and trying to like get it. It's kind of a case of them reaching out to us. So it gives the potential a little bit more juice. But until it's essentially done, we don't like to say who it is because you never know what's going to happen. As far as 2022 episodes and things I'm looking forward to, podcast wise. There's a bunch of guests we want to get, but it's really kind of wait and see which movies come out, how things pan out. Sometimes like Ken Sagos, for example, it's a friend of mine who just like, hey, I spoke to Ken Sagos and he'd be a good guest, came out of nowhere. So you never know the opportunities, but we take him when we see him. People throw us the ball, we try to hit it out of the park, and that's kind of how that goes. And as far as anything outside of the pod, man, COVID is such a bitch. There's so much we want to do. Like just meet the squad for me would be a huge 2022 goal, and we are planning on it, but COVID's always rearing its ugly head everywhere and making things difficult. But for sure, we'd like to do another type of event like Joe and Sam did in Salem and other stuff. So just keep on listening, and we'll let you know what we plan. But we do want to do other stuff outside of the pod as well. All right. And next up for audio questions are from our man Chuck.
Hey, Horror Squad. It is Chuck, a.k.a. Captain Amazing 85. Wanted to say congratulations on 2021. It was a great year for the podcast, and I really look forward to 2022. First off, question. What was your biggest disappointment of the podcast for 2021, other than Todd winning trivia for the third time?
That's what I was going to say, me losing trivia. I was really counting on that win.
We can team up, Sam, if you like.
Yeah, I'll be on Todd's team next year.
Yeah, I was looking at different versions of games, but there's not a lot for podcasts because it's all, it's not like we can do something visually. It has to be like a guessing game or nothing, essentially. So maybe I'm definitely going to try to focus on doing more like, I really appreciate when people write them in. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to try to focus on more elaborate, maybe more difficult ones like Guess What I Am or lyrics or something like that, just to spice it up a little bit. But disappointing for me, though, really nothing. I think we did really well this year and look forward to next.
Yeah, I can't really think of too many like disappointments. I guess just like guests we had the potential to get that like we didn't get. Like there was like a potential of us getting Kane Hodder, and then that got shut down like really quick by his agent. So that was disappointing. But other than that,
Alex
like
Vincent too, right?
yeah, Alex Vincent shut us down quick too. But he said today, he did say next year, and I think he was genuine about that. Because I've talked to him previously, and he was down for coming on, and then I just never touched base with him again. And then when the Chucky thing came up, I mean, obviously he's been doing a lot of press for that, so he said he was just kind of burnt out, which I can understand. So yeah, I mean, I think, stay tuned. Maybe we can get one of them next year. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm pretty happy with how the whole show went this year. So yeah, not many disappointments.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't have really many disappointments other than, like Joe said, some of the guests that we had lined up. We had such a huge one, like for the first episode of 2021, that fell through at the last second. Like we were about to record, and things just happened. But no, other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way the podcast went. I mean, personally, my biggest disappointment was not being able to go to our event. I was really bummed out about that because I really want to go, but there are country's rules, and I couldn't get through the border, so it is what it is. But hopefully next time we do an event, I'll be there, and that's more on me though than anything else.
You'll be there with your pizza rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chuck, what's your second question?
What movie do you think is going to be the biggest flop of 2022?
I honestly don't know a lot of the horizon, what's coming out. I had to look it up for the other horror-related question.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything big ones? Sorry, Sam.
No, you're fine. I'm with Todd. I have no idea what's coming for next year. All I know is Scream. So if you guys know of anything that you could tell us about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in like 2 weeks.
I think you get to see it, Steve. That would be a bummer if you
I'm not sure. For me, I think Halloween Ends is, like after seeing Halloween Kills, I'm a little concerned of what they're going to do with Halloween Ends, especially that to my knowledge, they haven't even filmed it yet, and they're still planning to release in October. That's a quick turnaround, and quick turnarounds don't typically end up being a good thing.
Do you think it's because, I know originally they wanted to do back-to-back, but do you think they did it to see what the reception would be for part 2? Because I know it's very divisive down the middle, and I wonder if they're like,
I don't know,
either for or against, either they fucked up or they want to lean into it, or against or away from it.
I'm not sure. I have a feeling it'll be bumped to next year. Honestly, I don't think it will release 2022, but it is on the schedule right now. Maybe they will change a little bit the course because of the last film, but last film still did pretty decent. So I don't know if in their eyes they see it as a success or a failure. That's how their metrics are measured. And other than that, I think the new Jeepers Creepers won't do well at all either. I think that franchise is tainted, and there's just no reason to keep churning him out, in my opinion. So that's the two biggest flops.
Yeah. And the original Creeper ain't coming back either. So that'll be interested to see a new actor in that. I'm going to go with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The movie already seemed doomed. Like they changed, I think, directors like a week or two into filming. And it just seemed like a project that was doomed, and it did it's making its way out there. It's going to be coming out in February, so we'll see, but I think that one's going to flop.
Texas Chainsaw is coming out in February?
Netflix.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Do we know what the premise is? Is it following after one of the other ones?
It's supposed to be a direct sequel to the original.
Yeah. After nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. So another old-ass man killing people.
Yep.
Netflix, huh?
Wonder where they got that idea from.
Yeah. Every movie decides that their sequels mean nothing. I don't know why that new trend started, but all right. It is what it is. All right. So Chuck's third question.
Is there an interview that you are going to go for the hardest for 2022?
Yes. I'm going to try really hard to get the directors of Scream back on, who we had on, if I can remember the name, Matt Bellini, Open, and Tyler Gillette, and can't remember the third guy's name. But yeah,
Radio
I'm definitely,
Silence.
hopefully, we can, the trio known as Radio Silence. I really hope we can get them back on for Scream. So fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, that would be friggin' awesome. they were so cool to talk to even back then when we did Ready or Not. So yeah, so check out that interview from God. That's a long time ago. That's 2 years ago, but definitely worth checking out. They were very, very cool.
Yeah, we were still called Three Guys at Heart when that interview went on.
Yeah.
So that's how long ago it was.
Right. All right. And Chuck's final question.
Everybody get up. It's time to jam now. We got a real thing going down. Welcome to the space, Sam. Here's your chance for that final recommendation for food. Thank you very much, squad. Loved it as always, and look forward to next year.
Let's get some buffalo chicken dip going.
All right.
So get some scoops, chips, you know?
All right. Get kind of like a little party platter going
Get some
on.
cheeses on the side if you're down. Little mini sausages. You can get a little toothpick and pop them in.
I like that. And some chips
dip.
and salsa. Yep. Ranch dip with some veggies.
Have you ever had the buffalo chicken dip in a bread bowl?
No.
Ooh, no, that sounds great. Yeah.
Good. Yeah,
I
try
don't
it.
like buffalo anything, so I don't think I would like that.
You can do like any kind of like, maybe like do you like chili?
Mm.
Yeah, you can do chili in a bread bowl.
Oh.
that.
Do you like corn dip?
I love corn dip.
I do too. It's so good.
Bread bowl it. Pretty much everything needs a bread bowl, I guess.
Just bread.
Bread's good too, just by itself.
Awesome. Great suggestions. So that's it for the audio questions. Thank you. I really enjoy them. So it's really easy to send them to me in a DM, and I will pop it into the episode. And we love hearing from you guys, and all those amazing voices you guys have. They have like the best accents. I'm very jealous. All right. The next the next questions are ones that were written in. First one is from Daryl. It's a two-part question. I personally feel like 2021 was the weakest year for horror in recent memory. Do you all agree or disagree? If you disagree, what would you say is the weakest year of the 21st century?
21st century started in
2000.
2010, 20? Or 2000. That was the 21st century, right?
Yeah, 21 years.
Oh, the weakest year ever? I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look from the past 20 years.
Know it off the top of your head.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I mean, it's been a weak year though. I will say that. I will definitely say that. Like I'm not 100% happy with my top 10. That's for sure.
It might be an interesting show to do. Top 20 years. Never mind, that takes forever. But as far as since we've been doing these, I would say yes, the weakest year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since we've been a podcast, yeah, probably. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it sucks because when we did our first episode of 2021, we were super psyched about this year because they had pushed so many of the 2020 film, like the big 2020 films, into 2021. We thought this would be like the fucking craziest year ever. And
yeah, that we'd get like double.
Right, exactly. And it was so like disappointment after disappointment. So damn, yeah, it really sucked. And I saw Daryl make a good point. What was great about like 2020, which I thought was a very strong year, is that because those big titles got pushed into 2021, it gave indies a shot to shine. And it just shows you that indies can really, if you don't watch indies, you really should, because there are some great gems out there. And 2021, you'll see on my list, like I have a lot of indies on there, and it's just, they're great. So yeah. All right. So next question is from Rick, Frightmare Collective Podcast, who also did a year-end show, and you guys should check it out. What flick was your biggest surprise this year?
Ooh, is that on our awards or no?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay.
We should add it for next year.
It
though.
is.
No, biggest surprise is on our awards.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. So we'll talk about when we do our awards ceremony later.
Yeah. So you're just gonna have to wait, Rick.
Yeah. But thank you for the question anyway. And the final question we have for this year, actually, is from Elizabeth. What are you looking forward to next year in movies or TV series? And hope everyone had a happy holiday and everyone will have a happy new year. So we have also an award for movies, but how about TV shows? Is there any horror TV shows that you guys are looking forward to in 2022?
You have to remind me what's coming out once again.
I know. I'm excited for Chucky for season 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. There was another big Oh, Hellraiser. If Hellraiser, I believe the TV series of Hellraiser is supposed to be coming out next year. So that one I'm definitely looking forward to, especially with it being on
Horror Story for you
HBO.
guys?
Oh
No,
God.
fuck
You
that
guys gotta
show.
officially give it up, or we have to hear about it
I'm
every episode next year.
I think Sam will probably watch it, but I think I'm done with it.
Well, now it's just a joke. Like now I have to keep it going. Although I didn't finish the last season. I stopped at the middle point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was giving you the
I don't
eyes.
even
Like,
want to talk about it.
you better
I don't even
not.
want to talk about it. I'm ashamed. It makes me
Um,
feel dirty, honestly.
Speaking of TV show disappointments, Creep Show for me in 2021 was a big disappointment, and I'm not even excited to watch it again in 2022. Like, I don't even know if I will check any of them out unless I hear the really good things about it. I think I'm done with that show. For me,
I still need to do Shadows. I still need to do that. I've only watched 1 through, I think 1 and 2 episodes.
Same.
It got better
finish
later
up.
in the season, thankfully, because it was kind of just an okay season up to that point. What I'm looking forward to the most personally is The Walking Dead. So they're finishing The Walking Dead this year with 2 more half seasons, and I'm really looking forward to see how they decide to wrap this series up. Of course, it's leading into other spin-offs and a series of movies and stuff like that, so I don't know if we'll get like a conclusive ending, but I'm just curious how they're going to handle the ending of that show, because they're doing the classic last season mistake of introducing a whole bunch of new shit when they should be closing off existing stories, which I think is a big mistake a lot of different shows do, and I'm just afraid they're gonna fuck it up like they did a bunch of other shows did the same thing. So
Is this 10 or 11?
it's 11.
So 10's on Netflix right now, or
Yeah, I think 10's on
Okay.
Netflix. Yeah.
still waiting for Sam to tell me to start watching it so I can watch it.
Which one?
Walking Dead 10.
Oh yeah.
Sam,
Oh,
you didn't
yeah,
mention
Jesus.
you didn't mention the one you've been creaming your panties over that's going to be coming out next month. New
Oh, The
season of Servant.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm so excited. Like I'll be able to live again, you guys. I'll find purpose in life again. Such a good show.
It's very good. It's very good.
The
And
Servant?
M. Night
What is that
Shyamalan.
on?
It's on
Apple
TV?
TV.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and Shyamalan announced the 4th season is going to be the last season. Like that, this is the 3rd season come up, and then he said they're going to be done after 4 seasons. And then I just looked it up, and apparently there's going to be an interview with the Vampire TV show coming on AMC as well this year.
Yeah, my uncle's working
That could
on
be
that
something.
show.
Your uncle?
Oh, really?
is?
Yeah, he's I forget the technical term, but he builds sets. So,
Oh my
like, he
God,
worked
that's
on like
amazing.
worked on like X-Files and shit like that.
Why are we not setting up an interview with your uncle?
Because Uncle Mike thinks he could beat me at chess, and he can't, so we have a problem. That's why.
Oh, okay. So
Shout out to
there's a
Uncle Mike.
grudge.
There's a
Okay.
grudge, yeah.
Is he single?
He's not.
All right.
All right.
He's
Well, thank
also
you.
like 62 years old, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We're into that.
Daddy. Granddaddy. No, it could be daddy, not a granddaddy.
Well, it could be granddaddy. I have a friend who's 38 who's a grandmother, so it could definitely be a granddaddy at 62. Yeah, so thank you everyone for the questions. We really appreciate each and every one of them. And now, for the last time in 2021, we're going to get a little deadly with Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Yeah, let's do the worst or the most biggest disappointments.
Okay.
So my top 5 biggest disappointments of 2021. It's different than worst movies because there's plenty of worst movies out there, technically speaking, acting, things like that. Because you got movies like Swim, Grizzly, things like that. But it's kind of not fair to put those as the worst. So my biggest disappointments are number 5, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. I was very excited because the director's like, this could be a straight horror movie. Like we're getting rid of the campy stuff, and then he just never turned the corner of any of his scenes to make it a great movie. It's still good, enjoyed it, but disappointing. Number 4 was Saw Spiral for the same reasons. I thought it was like entertaining, but overall missed the mark. Quiet Place 2, I think they should have stopped at 1 because Quiet Place 2 just like does the same exact movie with the first one, same exact ending even, and then like nothing new happens. Number 2 is Candyman because I thought it was like technically like awesome looking, very cool kills, especially that one girl getting slammed against the window towards the middle there. But I thought it was lazy like storytelling and kind of like hitting on the hot topics of 2020 and 2021, which I didn't really like. And then Halloween Kills, number 1, my biggest disappointment. Oh, I'm not gonna go on and on again, but this is like, it was terrible in my opinion. Kills were great. Everything else was just awful. So biggest disappointment, Halloween Kills.
Alrighty, I'll go next. All right, so my my 5 biggest disappointments of the year is at number 5, VHS 94. I'm a big fan of the VHS franchise, but this one just didn't do it for me. I just felt like it didn't, do enough. I was more disappointed in the segments than I was entertained with them, so that's why it comes at number 5. Coming at number 4, Halloween Kills. Todd basically said everything I thought as well. I thought the kills were great, which is why it's not lower on my list. It's just everything else wasn't very good. Number 3, Don't Breathe 2. I really liked Don't Breathe, and this one just took a really weird direction, that one that I did not like, one that I did not agree with, and yeah, left me disappointed. Number 2, Escape Room Tournament of Champions. The first Escape Room was probably the biggest surprise of 2019, I believe is when it came out, or maybe even 2020. I can't remember at this point. But yeah, I really enjoyed the hell out of that movie. And this movie just dropped the ball in every aspect. I know me and Steve saw 2 different movies, but from what we told about each other, it seemed like both movies were equally as disappointing. And then number 1, my biggest disappointment of the year is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I just, the whole Conjuring franchise, I loved, 1 and 2, and even most of the universe movies I thought were great. To me, this is one of the weakest of the entire universe. Like, even after like thinking back on it, yeah, I just think they dropped the ball big time on this one. So yeah, that's my number 1.
Alrighty, so for my 5 disappointments, my number 5 is Halloween Kills. Although the kills were excellent, I know we talked about it a lot during the episode where we reviewed it. I just felt like Laurie could have been in it a lot more. I was really counting on seeing her a lot, and she just was very lackluster in it. Number 4 is Wrong Turn. I love the beginning of this franchise, so I was really excited about this one, but it just was very boring. And then my next one is VHS 94. I love the first and the second one. They're very like spooky and creepy, and it was just boring. I couldn't even remember a lot of it. Number 2 is The Conjuring. This is like one of my favorite franchises that I love to watch. The films are so good. Like, I love the way that they're shot. I love all of the jump scares, but it was just so boring. And then my number 1 is Saw Spiral. Like, I fucking love the Saw franchise. It is so like scary and gritty and like horrifying. Like, you just do not want to be caught up in a Saw trap. You might as well kill yourself. But this one, it just felt like it was more like a crime movie. Like, it was so boring. So that's my disappointments for 2021.
Well, I'm gonna have to a talk with Damien about you putting Wrong Turn there on your biggest disappointments.
I mean, well, Damien didn't wish me a happy birthday, so my feelings are a little hurt.
Ah, all right.
All right. So my number 5, most disappointing films at number 5, Halloween Kills. I still liked the movie, but I was definitely disappointed in it. I thought there were a lot of things that they did that weren't great. And although I came out entertained, I had high expectations and it didn't match them at all. So that would be my number 5. Number 4, Fear Street 1666. I really loved Fear Street 78 and 94. And when it came to 66, I thought they just dropped the ball, especially using the same actors to play their like kind of old characters in 1666 was such a mistake. The accents were on and off like for absolutely no reason. I just thought that series could have been even better had they stuck the landing, and unfortunately I didn't feel that they did. Number 3, The Unholy. I fucking love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I was looking forward to this one. I knew it wouldn't be great, but what could have been actually a surprise this year ended up being a disappointment because of the overuse of CGI. The CGI really fucking killed this movie. And had they just toned it down with the CGI and kept the same story, I thought it could have been an actually pretty decent film. At number 2, Escape Room 2, Tournament of Champions. I didn't even like Escape Room 1 all that much, but I saw potential in the sequel. If they fixed the story, like the elements a little bit, I thought this could be a really good film. But holy fuck, what a disaster. I mean, like Joe said, we watched different versions of the movies and they both sucked. And we both put them on our biggest disappointment list. So that's saying something. And my number 1, also The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I mean, fuck, The Conjuring 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorite films of that decade. And then The Conjuring 3 comes out and it just wasn't good. Like, it wasn't good at all. To have Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga in your movie and not do like a good film is, wow, you really got to drop the ball, and they did so totally on this. So easily my biggest disappointment of 2021.
All right, so honorable mentions. Maybe they could have made a top 10 if they're a little bit stronger in certain areas, but my first one is Psycho Gorman. I love the premise and I love Psycho Gorman himself, but I couldn't get past that, the female's performance there. I think that's how they intended her to be, but it was just grating on the damn nerves. So like a cool concept, but I just can't get past that. But still pretty highly ranked. I got it like a 7.5 out of 10. Fear Street Part 2, which is the best out of that trilogy for me. Just missed out on the top 10. It was there for quite a while until I crammed like 5 2021 movies in past week. And then the other one, the last one here is Forever Purge. I thought it was a strong entry. I think I liked it better than you guys did. I thought it was a good entry into the series and a return to form, I guess you can say, from the first Purge, which was the 4th one. Yeah, those are my 3.
No, I agree about Forever Purge. That is a good one. It did make my stuff, but probably top 20 of the year, I would say for sure. All right, so my first honorable mention is The Queen of Black Magic. Steve turned us on to this one. Really good. Really, really good. Really good. What is it, Indonesian, Steve? Horror movie?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a real nice surprise. Probably one of the bigger surprises of the year for me. I was not expecting really much out of it, and I ended up enjoying the hell out of it. Number 2, Candyman. Yeah, I had some issues with it, but overall, I thought it was a really solid remake. I thought there were great performances throughout. The movie looked really nice. There were some great kills, although I think they could have went a little more with the kills. And a very memorable ending, which is why it makes my honorable mentions. And then my other honorable mention, I know you guys will probably be disappointed in me, but I left Ghostbusters Afterlife off of my top 10. It makes my honorable mentions just because I feel like it's more of a family movie than it is a horror movie. Probably one of my favorite movies of the year, though. No doubt about it. I absolutely loved it. But I just decided to keep it off of my top 10 horror.
Okay, Joe. Alrighty. I'm not going to get too deep into my honorable mentions, but I have The Stylist, I have False Positive, and Sound of Violence. All of these movies, I feel like they're very unique and they all are female-led, which I love. So if you haven't checked them out, I highly recommend it.
All right. My 3 honorable mentions are 3 movies I saw in 2021 that score-wise would put them on my top 10, but I didn't consider them for various reasons, which I'll explain with each movie. So my first one is The Amusement Park. So this is like a 1-hour film that they unveiled that George A. Romero had directed like 30, 40 years ago. It's a really good psychological film. It's all about kind of dementia, and it's set in an amusement park, and it's a really fantastic film. But I didn't include it because it wasn't like a full film. It was also an old film that they kind of dug up. So I didn't think it deserved to be like on my top 10. But score wise and how much I loved it, I think it is an amazing film, and you definitely need to watch it. My other one is a documentary, Cleaning Up the Town, Remembering the Ghostbusters. This was, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, is a must-watch documentary. It really goes so deep into the Ghostbusters lore and how they made the first movie and really interesting tidbits about the first movie. I could not recommend it enough. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It's a fantastic documentary, but I don't consider documentaries for my top 10, and that's why it was left off my list. And my other one, believe it or not, is my highest scoring film of 2021. Like, I put it above Ghostbusters in the score, and it's my only perfect 10 I've ever given a movie since being on the podcast, like for something new. But it's a documentary, so I did not include it. And that's Sam and Maddie Make a Zombie Movie. There is no film in 2021 or ever since I've been on the podcast of like new releases that made me feel so like proud and happy to be a horror fan. It is such a tale of just these two brothers with Down syndrome who want to make their horror movie and are just going to go for it. And their other brother helps them out, who's a filmmaker. And it is a touching tale, and it made me so proud of being a horror fan. And it really shows me how strong the horror community can be when we gather together and just fucking make films. You know, often we get caught up in all the bullshit, drama, and all the like, you know, all the stuff that behind the scenes, and we fight with each other, and it's such a weird thing. But just when it comes down to it, it's all about just loving horror and watching our creations and other people's creations come to life. And this movie had all that heart and more. So an absolute must watch if you're a horror fan. That's Sam and Maddie Make a Zombie Movie.
Well said, Steve. Well said. That was a good one. And I forgot about Romero's too, but yeah, I can't put that one as horror, but it's a great movie regardless. I was also surprised that we all had Halloween on our worst 5, especially Sam, because I thought that would have been on your top for sure.
Hey, it's not worse. It's just disappointment.
Well, disappointment.
Maybe it'll make its round on my list. Who knows?
Ooh.
It can be on my list, but it could be like a
okay.
disappointment, all right?
My favorite movie, also my biggest disappointment, Halloween Kills.
Yep.
All right. Top 10?
Let's do it.
All right. Who would like to lead with number 10?
I'll go. All right. At number 10 is Silent Night. Sam and I actually talked about this on the last podcast, I believe. Yeah, I mean, it was one of my bigger surprises of 2021. I was not expecting anything out of it, and I ended up enjoying the hell out of this one. The performances are fantastic. The whole ensemble cast does an amazing job here. The movie has a lot to say, and it's, you know, however you want to perceive it, you know, one way or the other, but it's very layered. And yeah, great movie.
So my number 10 is also Silent Night, and I agree with everything that Joe said.
All right. My number 10 is one of the last movies I watched this year, and that's The Nighthouse. Really good psychological thriller. Very good acting by the main actress who kind of carries the film, and is a very deep movie with layered messaging that honestly is probably one of the biggest regrets of the year is that we didn't cover this one on a podcast, because it's one of those like each of us could have a different interpretation of what the movie's about. So Nighthouse, very great film, and had to be on the list somewhere.
All right, my number 10 is Malignant by James Wan. When you think about it, it's still super goofy, like the whole police massacres thing, and she's running around backwards and shit. But overall, James Wan makes terrific looking movies. They're always very slick. They're always very full of fog and fucking strange shit like that. So Malignant, number 10.
All right. Coming in at number 9 is A Quiet Place Part 2. This movie was great. Like, I really enjoyed it. It did follow a lot of the same beats as the first one, which isn't why it goes higher on my list. But that opening scene alone is why it makes my top 10. That opening sequence is, to me, the best opening sequence from any movie in 2021, and that's why it makes my list at number 9.
Number 9, I have Malignant. I was definitely surprised by really enjoying this movie, and I would definitely watch it again.
All right. My number 9 is a movie I watched very early in the year, and that's Saint Maud. This is like a very interesting story about a girl who thinks she's a deity essentially, and it goes through her experiences and stuff like that. And it was just such a surprising film. But I got to be honest, it probably wouldn't be in my top 10 other than the last 3 seconds of the film that put it like catapulted into my top 10. It was such a lasting effect. Like, I still think about that fucking movie because the last 3 seconds of this movie, like, they really did a good job. Like, it's definitely a slow burn and everything, but I appreciate it for what it was. So that's why I put it number 9.
All right, my number 9 is Sun, directed by Ivan Kavanagh, which you guys interviewed for that one episode, The Canal, I think we did. Yeah, this one's cool, man. Like, it's got this girl who's the granddaughter in the Halloween Kills movies, and she's the mother of the son who has some mysterious ailment where he just kills and eats people. It's got good gore. Emil Hirsch is good in it, and there's the twist that's televised from like the first 20 minutes or so, but it was well acted throughout, and the kid was good, which is always a risk when you have child actors. They can, like Psycho Gorman, they can ruin it for you. But Sun was pretty good, so Sun over on Shudder.
Oh, that was a good one, Todd. All right, number 8 is Lamb. This one is a Icelandic foreign film, and yeah, this one stuck with me, and that's the reason it makes my number 8. It's a slow mover, but man, that ending is just like the only movie I audibly said something when something happened. If you've seen it, you'll know. But I literally said, "What the fuck?" Like, and that is lasting. Like, I still think about it, and the performance of just the lamb, just like one of my favorite performances of the entire year. I absolutely loved it. It is such a bizarre movie. I definitely recommend people check it out. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I guarantee you, it's a movie you are not going to forget.
I knew I was forgetting one that I should have watched. Now I regret not watching it. Oh well.
You didn't watch Lamb, Todd?
No, I have every intention to, and I just forgot. It's one of those things.
Will you watch it like eventually?
Yeah, it was on my anticipated list.
Okay, so where are we at? Number 8. Okay, so my number 8 is Honeydew. I watched this with Joe, and I don't know how he heard of this movie, but I really liked it. It was directed by, do you remember, Joe? Off the top of your head?
I don't, but
It's okay, I found it. It's okay, I got it, thanks. It was directed by Devereaux Milburn, and the podcast actually had the opportunity to do an interview with Mal and Barr, Steve and Joe did. But it's a movie about a couple who ends up running into this farmhouse because their car breaks down and they're needing help, and just the lady that owns this house is very strange. She has a very strange son, and you're just really unsure of what's going to happen. It's very uneasy. It also has Sawyer Spielberg, which is Steven Spielberg's son, and Lena Dunham. And the ending is just like, it makes me want to throw up. Like, it just makes me sick. It's so disturbing. So yeah, it's a good one.
Alan Barr was a delight. Very, very cool one. My number 8, Army of the Dead. I did not expect to like this one, to be honest with you. I thought it would be just a cheesy, stupid zombie film, but I mean, Zack Snyder has done the Dawn of the Dead remake, which was awesome, so I had some hope, and it surprised me like big time. I really enjoyed watching it. Like, it was a fun watch, one of the most fun watches I watched this year. Just went along for the ride. I mean, it was cheesy and had some corny jokes and stuff, and there was a lot of CGI and typical slow motion Snyder stuff. But overall, I had a lot of fun with this one, so I put it here at number 8.
All right, my number 8 is one that I just last minute crammed, The Nighthouse. Directed by David Bruckner, who did one of my favorite movies of recent years, The Ritual, which the book is crazy not good. But yeah, I did not guess where this one was going. Like, the twist, I didn't expect, which is always nice. I thought it was gonna be like a traditional ghost story, which it ended up not being. And there's some very like hair stand up in your arm sequences that I really dug. So yeah, The Nighthouse, I'm glad I watched it.
Nice. All right, coming in at number 7 for me is Censor. Censor is it's another movie that's very layered, and one that like Steven mentioned earlier, one you can take many ways when you get to the ending, and it takes you on a wild ride. It has to do with video nasties, which is like also already like very interesting. And it's another movie I did not know where this movie was going, and it goes in a very interesting direction at the end. Yeah, and it's another one that kept me thinking. So yeah, that's why it makes my list at number 7.
That's one I didn't get a chance to watch before this episode, but I still want to watch it. So my number 7, it's already been mentioned by everyone, I believe, is The Nighthouse. I was surprised by this one because I just reading about it, it just reminded me of kind of like I don't want to say Lifetime, but kind of a Lifetime, like one of the better quality Lifetime movies. I figured it was going to be like that and it was going to be okay, but actually really enjoyed it. A lot of layers to it, like everyone else had already mentioned before, and I really enjoyed it.
My number 7 is.
Can I interrupt real quick? I'm sorry, since we didn't have a chance to talk about Nighthouse, but Best Friend of the Year award to that girl in Nighthouse, man, and the neighbor.
Yeah, no kidding.
They were both looking out for her. I'm like, wow, good people.
Yeah, absolutely. My number 7 is Blood Red Sky. It's a movie that's half a an airplane heist movie, and half a vampire like crazy attack movie. I did not expect this one at all. I watched it kind of just based off the poster. I didn't know anything about it when I did, and it really took me for a ride, and a very surprising film. Very gory, very bloody, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So that's Blood Red Sky.
All right, my number 7 is Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. It wasn't too long. Yeah, was it kind of like left a lot of unanswered questions. Yeah, like robots and stuff. I thought the better movie would have been the opening montage of them trying to get out of Vegas, and then maybe this would be like a sequel or part 3, maybe. But overall, I still had a good time with it. Like, you have your cool characters, you have cool zombies. The Vegas setting is awesome, and I look forward to what they do next. Definitely want to check out the heist movie starring the German dude from this movie.
Pretty good.
Is it? But yeah, Army of the Dead could have been better, sure, but I still had a good time with it.
Alrighty, coming in at number 6 for me is Come True. This one, man, I saw this one early in the year, but it's still one I still think about and still one I always go back to when people ask me like what was like a good movie in 2021 they may not have seen. Man, this movie, it kind of like think of like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Like it kind of has like, think of something like that where, man, this girl, she has like these recurring nightmares. And so she enters like this sleep study, and man, the nightmare sequences in this movie are so good, like just really great. I've seen some people did not like the ending, and I see that's kind of where people kind of go left on this movie. But honestly, the whole ride is just so damn good that even if you don't like the ending, I don't think you'll regret watching the movie, because that's just like how good this one is. And I didn't mind the ending. So yeah, I mean, that's why it makes my number 6.
What was that one called, Joe?
What was that again?
Come True.
Come True.
So my number 6, I don't know. I go back and forth with this one. Okay, I do, but I don't. So my number 6 is Ghostbusters. And I think maybe because I watched Ghostbusters 1 and 2 that I enjoyed Afterlife a lot more. But I think if I would have seen it on its own, I would have been like, meh. But it was really good. I felt like all of the kids were great with acting, had a lot of great laughs, a lot of ghost chasing, a lot of horror in there, a lot of jump scares. It was just a really scary horror movie. So that's Ghostbusters number 6.
My number 6 is Candyman. It had its issues, absolutely. We did a whole episode about it. But it was so well shot. There were a lot of like surprising moments, some good kills, some great visuals. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy the film for what it was, and I think there are a lot of great elements that came out of it. Unfortunately, it's overshadowed by some of the bad ones, but in 2021, a movie like this, I thought it was deserving of a top 10. So that's why I put it there.
All right, my number 6 is Bloody Hell, directed by Alistair Gearson. This one is it's awesome. It's different, like you have a guy that is a hero, and then he gets sent to jail, and then he just decides to go to another country, and then he gets caught up in some more shit. Wild ride, well acted, and there's some fucking weird shit that you don't see coming in this one. So bloody hell, it's a really good time.
Alrighty, coming in at number 5, you may have heard it a few times already, and that is the Nighthouse. Yeah, I mean, this is a great one. This one I really, really liked. I loved where it went, and like Steve said, you could really talk about this one for a long time, especially when you get to that very ending. It really hit you, and it depends which way it's going to hit you. But yeah, and then like Todd said, that twist I definitely didn't see coming either. And yeah, it's a movie that definitely keeps you guessing. So that's why it makes my number 5.
Oh, Joseph, you bumped it down quite a few spots, huh?
I did.
I feel like you should let the listeners know what you were going to rate it.
It was for a while going to be my number.
Anything, man. Sam's on you. I like it.
No, it was.
No, because
no,
it's interesting.
No, I did for a while have it as my number 1. I did, but the more I thought about it, I looked at my list and I was like, was this movie better than this one? I don't think so. So it just kept bumping down. So yeah.
Well. Joe told me what his number 1 was, and I was really shocked. I was like, really?
Yeah.
But anyway, so my number 5, this one was going to be lower on my list, but I kind of felt obligated that I had to have it higher on my list. And that is Fear Street. I know Todd, I think it was Todd had mentioned part 3, and that is my least favorite part of it. Is like I thought it was so boring. I like checked out of it. But part 1 and part 2 are really good. I like the stories. I like the characters and the kids and stuff like that. And it's super like Halloween-y and whatnot. So yeah, Fear Street.
My number 5 is The Medium. So this is a story about a documentary crew that go to, I think it's Thailand, to film a shaman and what shamanism is all about. But while they're filming her, they notice that her niece, I believe it is, starts getting possessed. And then the crew kind of starts following her niece instead. And then the movie goes batshit fucking crazy and a bunch of stuff happens. This movie is just like, wow. One of the scariest I've seen this year. There's there's a point where they have cameras watching the niece at home for a while to see like what her behavior is when no one's around, and it is fucking frightening, like what they show. Really well done, like found footage kind of camera angled shots, and it was freaky, man. And then the whole last like 20-25 minutes, whew, man, it goes like they really turn it to 11 all of a sudden, and it's crazy. The only downfall of this movie, it's very long and it takes a long time to get going, but once it does, it is fucking worth every minute of it. So The Medium.
All right, my number 5 is Camille Griffin's Silent Night. Last minute cram. Roman Griffin Davis, the young boy, he's fantastic little actor, man. I can't wait to see what he does growing up. The ensemble is excellent. The questions it raises are great. And it made me cry. So second 2021 movie that made me cry this year in horror, this one in Ghostbusters. At the very beginning, I'm like, this is not going to be for me. But then when they explained why they were kind of acting like over the top friendly and shit, then it like, oh, fuck, that's okay. I get it now. So Silent Night is very good.
Todd, I wanted to ask what you do in that situation with your family.
Man, it's tough, like I know the question raised in it is, along with a lot of others, one of the questions is the government lying to you? Do you need to believe them, right? And it's like, from a critical perspective, I think, especially seeing how the world deals with a pandemic now, you have people marching and fucking, don't tell me what to do and all that bullshit. I think that if there was is it a spoiler if I tell her what everyone's hiding from? Or what?
I mean, if you're gonna just spoiler alert.
Okay.
Skip ahead, but you can spoil.
Yeah, spoiler alert for Silent. If there's a toxic gas cloud that literally makes you bleed to death, I think people would have tried their hardest to debunk that, and you would have had people recording themselves dying horribly, and it would have been proven. You know what I mean? I don't think that's something you can hide, because it's not like COVID where you can confuse it with a cough. This is like literally like bleeding out of your ass and stuff. But would I kill my family? And I don't know, man. I'm really close to Art in this one. He's like, you don't love me if you're killing me. And like, it hits, like when he says that shit, it's like, fuck. But then at the same time, you're like, dude, like you've seen what happens on the news. And if you take it at face value, that's the truth. Like, you don't want your family, let alone anyone, to suffer through that. So I don't know. It's a big question that I don't think I can. I don't think you can. I don't think anyone can truly answer. To be honest.
Yeah. Well, while I was watching it, I was just like, what would I do in that situation? And I was with the kid. I was like, I wouldn't take it because I felt like you're going to die regardless. So I kind of want to see like if the government is lying, because either way, it's going to end up bad. But I'm sure I would think differently if I was actually in that situation.
Yeah, and the grandma scene too. They're like, she's got to go, and she's about to. And I'm like, fuck, it's call grandma back. I need to say goodbye. And yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
I need another Coke. Yeah. My Coke's warm, Daddy.
Dad, you promised we'd have a whole can. And he's like trying not to yell.
Dad.
He's like, this is the last moments. Let me not freak out.
Yeah.
The kid though, he's such a good fucking actor. It's insane. Like he's good.
Yeah. No, he is. Alrighty, on to number 4. All right, coming in at number 4 for me is Titan. This one was a late minute pull, and I'm glad I watched it because I really enjoyed the hell out of this. This is from the same director that did Raw, which I wasn't as big on Raw, but this to me was a big step up for her. This movie's wild. Like, it is wild. It is, I mean, it's like, it starts as like this completely like almost like a softcore porno, but then it just like gets so grounded and layered and emotional and like, yeah. But then it gets into this crazy, absolutely bonkers body horror stuff. And there's just like, there's a lot of deep like layers though, for sure in this movie. Like when you really sit down and think about it. And it's a movie that I've thought about a lot after watching it. And the performances are fantastic. The lead actress is great. And then, the guy who plays the father character is the chemistry between the two of them, I thought was just great. And man, it's a wild ride. And yeah, I loved it.
Oh, sorry. I was throwing up in my mouth. Just joking.
With pleasure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, so my number 4 is, I know this isn't going to make sense because it was on my disappointments list, but it's Halloween Kills, you guys. Like I mentioned on the episode, I was so afraid of Michael Myers, and it had been so long since I was afraid of him. Although I was disappointed by it, just by like the whole Tommy Doyle stuff, and I don't even want to talk about that. But it was good. It was good. And I didn't really have any high expectations, I don't think. So I enjoyed it for what it was.
Evil Dies Tonight, girl. What's up?
My number 4 is Vicious Fun. So Vicious Fun is about a guy who inadvertently gets stuck in a bathroom at a bar. And when he comes out of it, he realizes that he's at a kind of an AA meeting for serial killers, and this whole adventure ensues from there. This movie is it's funny, it's clever. There are a lot of good references about other horror films and genres and stuff like that. Each killer kind of mimics different types of killers in horror films, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. The comedy didn't all hit with me, but it hit a lot. And I have trouble sometimes when people are trying to be funny, but this guy just made me laugh a lot in the movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was a really fun watch. I watched it twice, and I enjoyed it just as much a second time. So definitely need to put on my list at number 4.
My number 4 is also Titan. So everything Joe said, man, it's fucking insane where this movie goes. It's like so demented. It's not what you think it is, trust me. Like, a girl having a sexual relationship with a vehicle, that's not what this movie is, although that's a big part. It's like, I'm did you get through it, Sam, all the way? Were you too grossed out?
I got through it.
You did? Mm-hmm. Well, your response makes me think you hated it, so never mind.
I didn't hate it. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was horror though.
This wasn't your thing?
I don't understand. I don't know. I felt like the girl was getting raped by the car, honestly. Like, that kind of messed up. That kind of fucked me up.
She was riding the fucking... Nah, I'll save that. No, but it's insane. Like, it goes from, like... I just didn't know what was going to happen. Like, It's a serial killer movie. It's a father/daughter/son relationship movie. It's a like be comfortable in your body movie. It's like everything, and it's fucking weird, and it's gross. Like even like there's like obvious body horror stuff, like that's clear cut, like limbs being severed and things like that. And then there's like stuff that's supposed to be sexy that is like when she's licking another girl's nipples. I'm like, oh, like stop, like just stop. What are you doing? And she's like biting it really hard, and it's just like little subtle stuff like that. I thought the movie was fantastic, and if you want to see an insane movie, this is the one for sure.
Be prepared.
Yes, sir. All right, top 3, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 3 for me.
already. I'm scared.
Top 3.
I'm scared. I'm gonna cry.
Well, I'll tell you something, be a little more scary. Gabriel, because number 3 is Malignant for me. This is the most bonkers movie of 2021.
What? Comparing to Titan, it's
For real.
come on, buddy.
I mean,
rethink that statement.
I don't know. Maybe those are top 2, but man, just like considering this came from James Wan, I'm saying this is the most bonkers movie of 2021. Just because no one expected this out of James Wan. Like going from like jump scare horror movies to essentially just a cheesy B movie. What this movie like, just like no one expected this, but like I enjoyed every second of this. Like it is just so bonkers, and I fucking loved it for it. Like, yeah, like it's a movie that I will not forget, and I could see why people would absolutely hate this movie, but I think this is like a love letter to horror movies in a lot of way, and James Wan's love letter to horror movies, who obviously he is a big horror fan, and he wanted to do something for the horror fans, and I think that's what this is. And yeah, so that's why Malignant makes my number 3.
It's a great number 3 choice, Joseph. All right. Guys, I really had a tough time between 1, 2, and 3. Like literally every second it changes, but I'm sticking with it. So my number 3 is Last Night in Soho. But it could be 1, but also 2, but also 3, but it's 3. So, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it's just beautiful to the eye. Unlike Titan, like watch this movie after you watch Titan, because it's literally like pouring bleach into your eyeballs and going to look at puppies. That's what Last Night in Soho is. No, but it's just really good. The acting's good. I will say I ended up watching 2 trailers for it, and I try to stick away from the trailers for this very reason. And the second one, like I already had it figured out, so it wasn't like as surprising when I watched it, but it was still good, and I would watch this one multiple times.
My number 3, same as Joe, Malignant. I didn't know what to expect with this one either, and it completely surprised me. Especially like you said, coming from James Wan. I remember seeing this in theaters, and it just blew me away at how fucking nuts it was. Sure, there are a lot of issues and things that you kind of like have to look past, but I enjoyed myself throughout and really thought this was a solid film, and one I'm very happy that I got to see. So Malignant at number 3.
My 3rd is also Sam's 3rd, Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright, Shaun of the Dead fame. I know nothing apart from I think maybe a teaser going in, and then Joe's spoiler about the girl. But yeah, man, it's fucking. Okay, I'll back up. Like Sam said, it's like a vision. Like it's very nice, and like the aesthetic and the music and the characters and the girls and the dudes dressed up in suits. Everyone looks great. Even the dudes, most of them are fucking pieces of shit, especially in the 60s time frame in this movie. But they all look, pretty nice in their suits and stuff. But like acting was great. I really love let me click it so I get it right here. Thomasin McKenzie, who plays like the naive chick. Like I feel so bad for her, especially with the mean girls picking on her for no reason. Anya Taylor-Joy's, she's always good in everything. She's perfect in this. I thought the ending could have been a little bit better handled with like the whole twisty turny things, especially where they reveal who one of the characters is. I thought that could have been forecast a little bit, even though it is sort of. I thought it could have been a little bit more Easter eggs in there, but overall, like a big surprise because I thought I might not like this because I didn't like his last movie, Baby Driver, which a lot of people seem to really enjoy. But Last Night in Soho, number 3.
All right, my number 2 is Sam and Todd's number 3, Last Night in Soho. Yeah, I mean, the further I get away from this movie, the more I like it. Like Sam and Todd said, it's a beautifully shot movie. Great acting throughout. And I didn't love the twist the first time I saw it, but now like it just makes so much sense. Like the more like I go away from it, I'm like, you know what, I'm cool with it now. So yeah, I mean it's a great movie, and I definitely recommend it for everyone to check out.
That makes me happy. It's kind of like it makes me want to call it like Broadway horror, Does that make sense?
Downtown. Was that her singing? I didn't look it up.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, she can sing too.
Well,
Damn.
for the scene it was, but it sounds like her actual voice.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, guys. So my number 2 is Candyman. Candyman. Candyman.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. All right, Candyman. This was one of my highly anticipated films that I was really looking forward to, more so than Halloween Kills. I just love this movie so much. I think it comes from like me having like a connection to the original Candyman from the 90s. It's just really good. Like it's shot well. The scenes are cool where he's like floating and you can't see him in real life, but you can see him in the reflection. Like, I love that. I love the character of Anthony, who's the main guy, especially the scene at the very end with all of the cops is cool, like in the car and whatnot. It's just really good, and I really love it. So that's my number 2.
My number 2 is The Queen of Black Magic, the remake. So this was my number 1 pretty much all year. When I first saw it early in the year, I put it number 1. I'm like, okay, this year it could be pretty good. I'm going to have something kind of indie up there at some point. But I didn't expect it to stay number 1 so long. Like I kept watching movie after movie after movie. I'm like, God damn, there's nothing beating this damn film until very late in the year. I really enjoyed it. I watched it twice, and we did an episode about it, so I'm not going to go too long about it. But it just reminded me of my childhood and my grandparents' house when there were ghosts around, and the little boy in this one really kind of captured the way I felt about ghosts when I was a kid. And there's a lot of really scary scenes in this movie that I really like. There's some crazy like body horror stuff as well. And this one just really hit with me, and I watched it twice. So, I thought maybe the second time I wouldn't like it as much, but I did totally like it as much. So yeah, I'm very happy I saw this one, and that's The Queen of Black Magic.
My number 2 is Cody Callahan's Vicious Fun. Yeah, like everything Steve said so far, like I really like when they give the backstories of the killers. It's like so funny. Like you got the one dude that dresses a members only jacket, he's dancing. You got like this clown guy, and you got the traditional Jason Voorhees, big, fucking guy. Like Steve, some of the comedy didn't land, but most of it did. That can turn you really sour to a movie really fast if it doesn't land for the most part. But I liked it overall, like him getting sucked into a situation where he has to fend off against serial killers while pretending at first to be one. It was just good. So Vicious Fun, number 2.
Alrighty, folks. Number 1. My number 1 movie of 2021 is Saint Maude. This movie, just like we reviewed it early in the year, and I just never stopped thinking about it really. It is just a really interesting watch of a woman's descent into madness. The whole movie, you're just waiting for something terrible to happen, and the sense of dread throughout the entire movie is strong. And and it just like the whole time I was just on the edge of my seat. And then when she finally does descent into madness, you just get that unforgettable lasting image in the final scene, and it's something that is just burned into my brain. And just thinking about it now, I can just go back and just remember, like it's just like it really is burned into my brain. Like I can like see it in my mind right now, and it had a lasting effect, and that's why it made my number 1.
Alrighty. So my number one, I'm alone on this boat apparently. I don't even want to be on this boat, but whatever. It's already done and said. Is A Quiet Place 2, only because I was really hyped seeing this movie. Like, it was the first movie of like, you can kind of go out, it's still COVID, you're still gonna die, but hey, have fun at the movie theater, kid. Go get your snacks. And just the opening scene is absolutely amazing. I put this one on my number one, not only because the opening scene, but it was one of the movies that I just like Googled and watched a lot of interviews and just read so much stuff about it. Just because that one scene, I was like obsessed with it. It's so good. I could just watch it over and over. And John what's his name? John?
Krasinski?
I can't remember his name.
Krasinski.
I was going to say Cusack.
Right.
John Krasinski. Like, what a babe, right? Emily Blunt, she's a babe. Their kids were great in the movie. So that's my number one pick.
I actually had it as my number 10 until the very last movie I watched, which was Nighthouse, and it bumped it to number 11. So I did enjoy it. But my number one, I think no surprise to anyone who listens to the podcast, is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I do consider it somewhat horror. There's, all sorts of reasons that we talked about last week, but man, this movie hits so well with me. I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I have been since I was a little kid. I mean, I had the Ghostbusters toys as a kid, and I had all the accessories, and I used to listen to the cassette tape of the songs. I mean, I love Ghostbusters. So there was high expectations with this one, and I think for the most part they landed. I mean, I had a few complaints, thought there could be more like variety of ghosts in it and stuff like that. Maybe it was a little long at times, but holy shit, the emotions that going through watching this movie was just incredible. And it was, doing nostalgia right. You could tell that this was someone who had, skin in the game as far as the Ghostbusters history and lore. And when they brought back, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen it, maybe forward like a minute, when they brought back Egon, I could not believe it. Like, I did not believe that they would do that. And not only bring him back, but bring him back as a full-on apparition. And we got that moment of the four Ghostbusters busting a ghost together for one last time. And it made me so emotional. And I don't get usually emotional on films, and this one managed to do it, man. This was easily my top film of the year as far as horror goes. And I absolutely adore it. And it's a day one 4K purchase as soon as it releases in February. So yeah, definitely an easy one for me.
My number one, same as Steve, Ghostbusters Afterlife, for the exact same reasons. I can't add too much. You liked it just like for the same reasons I did, and disliked the same things I did as well. Like, they should have had a little bit more ghosts when the town was overrun, things like that. But man, the acting was great. It was just like a very good sequel / soft reboot, love letter to the originals, handled awesomely. And it could have been weird, man, the way they did at the end. It could have come off super cheesy and super awkward, and it didn't. So thankfully it was great. And I can see why people wouldn't put it on the horror list. This would be on both my non-horror and horror lists if we had one as number one, because it's almost perfect. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, can't wait for it to come out, revisit it, solid movie.
And the kid who played podcast is doing his first con ever, so he'll be making the concert now.
Oh.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? Fucking Iron Lady from Halloween does it. He can do it too.
No, definitely. He's way more relevant than she is. Yeah.
Are we doing the awards, or are you doing your total list?
I think we should probably do the awards first, and then
Okay.
move on to the ultimate list.
You just want to go around the robin down the line here,
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
or do you want to do them all at once?
No, we'll do
Let's
it.
go.
Round robin.
Round robin.
All right, I'll go. Best actor for me is Roman Griffin Davis from Silent Night. Super freaking good actor. Child actors there's not a lot of great child actors, and he's one of them.
That's a great pick, Todd.
Thank you.
So my best actor goes to Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Anthony from Candyman.
That's a great choice, Sam, because I also picked Abdul-Mateen,
Joe!
Anthony
Cheating
from
off her list.
Candyman.
He's also
I
in the
didn't
new
even
Matrix
know.
movie.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he
Nice.
plays
Him.
Morpheus. What's that?
The new one?
Uh-huh.
I heard people didn't like it. What did you think?
I'm only 30 minutes in because it's like 3 hours, so I'm piecing
Oh,
it
okay.
together. Yeah.
And I'm right there with you guys. Also, Bill Mateen II from Candyman. Honestly, for male performances, I was struggling a little bit this year. I don't feel that a lot of male performers did all that well in 2021. I was kind of struggling finding someone that I really liked their performance. Now, females I have a bunch, but males, step up your game in 2022. Young guys, dropped the ball. But he was great, though. Really, it was a tough role to pull off, and he did a good job of it.
Yep. He was good. I just don't know what you guys have against kids, but we won't go there.
I didn't see it. So.
Nah, he's good. He's a good Morpheus too. And my best actress is another child, McKenna Grace from Ghostbusters. She was great, man. Like, she's such an adorable girl, and I thought she did a great performance. My alternate would have been Thomason. I forget her last name now, from last night's. There you go. Is it Mackenzie? Yeah, it's Mackenzie. You're right.
Yeah. That's a great pick, Todd. I wasn't even thinking of her. But my best actress goes to Thomasin McKenzie, who played Eloise from Last Night in Soho.
Yep, she was great. And I'm going to go for, if I can pronounce her name right, I don't know if I will, but I apologize. Mofid Clark, who played Maude in Saint Maud. I thought she was fantastic in it.
I'm cheating. I couldn't decide between two, so I'm gonna say both because I really
come on.
I couldn't do it.
Well, I'm gonna put my second out there too. Then after.
All right. My first one is Rebecca Hall from the Nighthouse. She carried that movie throughout.
She did, yeah.
The way that she looks at people, like when she's having conversations, she's like expressing so many emotions without moving her face. It's really weird. I can't even explain how she did it, but you could tell how she feels just by looking at her. And she's not even doing these big facial expressions. It's just in her eyes, or I don't know what it is, but she's fucking fantastic. And the other one is Gracie Gillam from Superhost. The movie was okay, not the greatest, but her as the Superhost was fucking fantastic. And I absolutely loved her performance. So had to be mentioned as well.
All right. Yeah, I really wanted to put this actress, but I mean, I just think the lady who played Maude's performance was so good. But another movie that's just okay, like Steve said, was Superhost. But I think this actress elevated the movie to make it a pretty good movie is Jasmine Savoy Brown for Sound of Violence. She carried that movie and was just so damn good in it.
Yeah, she was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I had trouble with Best Scare because I didn't catalog it throughout the year like it did everything else.
Yeah.
So it actually, there's two of the scariest movies that I saw, and I had to lump them like that, would be The Queen of Black Magic. There's quite a bit of scenes in there that are fucking freaky as fuck, especially the scene on the bus where a bus full of dead bodies. Never a good sign, right? So I'm gonna have to go with that one, and then nothing particular from The Silent House, but there were, like I said in my mini review, there were a lot of moments where like the hair would stand up on my arms because there was like a whisper or something like that. It was very effective in the lighting, the sound, the setup, everything. So I'm a little cheating there, but those are mine.
I remember in the Nighthouse, the one that really got me was like when the speaker comes on, like downstairs. That scared the shit out of me. That was a good one. For me, I also, Todd, just did scariest movie of the year because like I couldn't think of like any single scare. But for me, it's The Medium, which I actually just watched today to fill in for top 10. And that movie is scary. And I told Sam, I was like, Sam, you will pee your pants if you watch this movie. Like, especially, I watched it during the day and I still thought it was scary. And Steve even told me watching it at night, but I just didn't have time. But I highly recommend, if you're going to watch this movie, definitely watch it at night because this movie is definitely freaky. And it was a very good movie. It didn't make my top 10, but definitely top 20 worthy.
Mine is Titan. No, I'm kidding. So there was a scene in Honeydew, like at the end, the main character, Sam, like if I'm remembering it right, just because it put like a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm pretty sure like his limbs got chopped off and they were all bandaged up and he was put into a bear costume and kind of like forced to have sex with another person who also had their limbs chopped off in another bear suit. Is very like scary.
Yeah. As far as scariest movies, I agree with Joe. I think Queen of Black Magic and The Medium were probably the two scariest movies I've seen this year. But as far as single scene, the one that really stays with me for whatever reason is what I describe as the wall corpse in Caveat. There's just something about that particular scene with the corpse in the wall that really fucking freaks me out. And there's a scene in particular that, anyway, the corpse comes back in some way later in the film, and it's like a jump scare, and it really took me, like, it fucking scared me, and I love it for that. The movie's like, it's one of those movies, again, it's like, okay, but that scare was worth that entire movie. So yeah, that's my award for that.
That's a great scene. Forgot about that one. Best kill goes to Halloween Kills, and there's a ton of great kills in this movie. The kills obviously were 10 out of 10, the rest not so much. But the boyfriend, I thought he was gonna fucking rip his head off at one point. I'm like, Jesus, Mike, calm down. But he has his head in between, he's choking him out and he's twisting it. It's fucking brutal, and I really liked it, especially because that character was a little sack of shit from the first movie, so he had it coming. So Halloween Kills, but overall, if we had to do best kills from movies, I think probably unanimous would be Halloween Kills this time.
That was also my best kill, Todd.
Oh, nice. The boyfriend?
Yeah, Allison's boyfriend, Cameron. Yep. It's brutal.
Nice.
It's like, even in like the sound effects too that they use, like just the threshing and like the bones crushing, like, ugh.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Halloween Kills probably did have the best kills of the year, but I'm gonna go a little different here, and I'm gonna go with my boy Psycho Goreman. When he looks at the kid in the street and just incinerates him, like just by looking at him, like it was one of the best laughs I had of the entire year. So I'm gonna go with that one.
I'm also going kind of outside of the box on this one for my best kill of the year, and that's Maude in Saint Maude. So my best kill of the year is her killing herself. So it still sticks with me, like 10 months after I saw it. So yeah.
My biggest surprise, and like there are other movies on my list like Silent Night and Nighthouse and things that were surprisingly under the radar, but biggest surprise for me was actually Ghostbusters Afterlife, because I wanted to like it so much, and it had so much years of like, this is happening, it's not happening, and back and forth, and when is it, and shit like that, that I'm like, this movie could easily be terrible, and for it to be my favorite movie this year, I was very surprised because it could have not been. So Ghostbusters Afterlife.
So my biggest surprise is Chucky, the TV series. I've talked about it before, where it's like I don't really put too much excitement into TV shows based off of like a horror movie or anything like that, because it usually gets canceled just after one season, or it's a very like CW show, just like very teeny, which can be good. But in this case, I was worried, and I actually really liked it. I looked forward every week when there was a new episode. It was really good.
Yeah, that's a great one. My biggest surprise is the ending to the movie Lamb, which I kind of already touched on. Not going to spoil it for anyone, but like I said, I audibly said, what the fuck, when it happened. So yeah, and it was definitely the biggest surprise of the year for me.
And biggest surprise for me was Malignant. You expect James Wan to do a certain type of movie, and then you get something totally different. And I appreciate that about James Wan. And I'll still go and say I think he's one of the best horror directors maybe ever at this point. You know, I think he's up there. His name's got to at least be in the conversation. And it's only because he's more recent that people don't put him in the conversation. But I think that's unfair. But hopefully he'll keep turning out surprises like this and, you know, cement his name up there. So yeah, definitely my biggest surprise.
Most memorable moment, Egon, Ghostbusters come back. Because you're waiting for it, you want it to happen, and when it did, it hit, and I'm teary-eyed, and fucking tears are coming down. It is, yeah, awesome moment. And then to see them all on the screen together, and they're giving their goodbyes to him, and it's good.
That's a good one, Todd. So my most memorable moment is the reveal of Gabriel from Malignant. Wasn't expecting that.
Well, Sam, that was also my most memorable moment. The jail scene in Malignant when Gabriel turns around, it was just amazing.
And mine's the same as Todd. As a fan of that franchise, there was no more memorable moment in any film than that particular scene, and loved it. It was done so fucking well.
All right, now we're
Someone
going on
wanted to pick Lindsay Wallace from Halloween.
Oh gosh. Hopefully she dies in part 3. Evil dies tonight. All right, now we're doing pod questions. Best pod episode, and you know what? I'm just gonna say the same answer for both. Best pod episode and best interview would be Joe's mom, Patty, 100%. she's awesome, man. Like, not because she's your mom, she's fucking great. I love talking to her, and her episode it gave me goosebumps. It made me like emotional, and it was good. It was great. So that's my best episode and best interview.
Okay. So my best episode I thought was the 90s recap. And then best interview was the Andre Gower interview.
Thank you. All right. My best episode is also the 90s episode. I mean, these are my favorite ones, just where we give our top 10s. I always want to hear what everyone's, lists are and stuff like that. So I find, and the listeners' lists and everything. So I find those the best. Best interview, I'm going to go off the cuff a little bit, and I'm going to go with Jim Cummings and PJ McCabe. I really enjoyed doing that interview with them. I felt our chemistry was great, and I really enjoyed it.
I went on a top 3 for my best episode. So 159, Lady in White, which is the one where we interviewed Patty. 186, Top of the 90s, like you guys mentioned. And also 181, The Greasy Strangler. I just really enjoyed talking about that movie. And it's one you guys have been pushing me to see for so long. And we also got an interview with Sky Elabar, which was fucking awesome. Which leads me to my best interviews. I put 5 of them. One, Ken Sagos. It's one of the only ones I did alone, and it was awesome. The guy is so fucking cool. Then Sky Elabar from Greasy Strangler. He was just so much fun and a blast to talk to. Then last week, Andre Gower is just like, we had to get Andre Gower at some point on the podcast, and we finally did it.
Right.
It took a long time, but it was awesome. Then, like Joe said, Jim Cummings and PJ McCabe. I wasn't even on that interview, but I super loved listening to it. They were just so cool. And finally, of course, Patty, Joe's mom. Just wow, what a delight. And I can't wait to have her back on because I have a lot of follow-up questions. So I think it'll be a fun interview again.
You just gotta figure out what to attach her to. Maybe like Stir of Echoes or something.
Yeah, we could.
Felt like I was being attacked.
We can do Titan, and we'll have her attach the episode if she watches it.
There you go.
Watch that with your mom.
She would totally
She
watch
would
that too.
Yeah, she would find it interesting, I bet.
Oh boy.
Definitely. I wouldn't watch it with her, but
2022 most anticipated. I got 2 here. One is Scream. Scream's a great series, even though they go downhill progressively 2, 3, and 4. I haven't seen 4 in a long time. This would be nice to revisit that one. And then Terrifier 2, because I think it's going to deliver what we expect it will be, which will have creepy art scenes and over-the-top gore, and sometimes that's all you need. So those are my 2.
Oh, I didn't even know we were getting a Terrifier 2 for 2022.
yeah.
T2 2022.
Ooh.
Year of 2022 T2.
Okay.
That's what the
I'm
slogan
scared.
of the movie should be. So I'm going with Scream because, like I said before, I really don't know what else is coming out, but I'm excited for it.
All right. I'm going to go with Black Phone. I'm really excited for that one. That is based on a Joe Hill short story starring Ethan Hawke, same director who did Sinister. That one looks really scary. Like, it looks really good, and the storyline looks really good. And then I will go with Jordan Peele's Nope. Really excited for that one. You got Daniel Kaluuya is coming back for that. So, I really think that one is going to be good. I have no idea what it's going to be about, but the poster looks interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. Nope, definitely on my list. I mean, he's so good that I can't wait to see what he does next. So that's going to be awesome. Then Hocus Pocus 2. I know it's more of, comedy. It's not really horror, but it's, it dips its toe into the horror genre by being witches and stuff. So, I mean, looking forward to that. And one that's, we were told it's going to be horror-ish. And I'm curious to see if it's actually going to turn out that way. And that's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's directed by Sam Raimi. And when they announced it, they said this will be the closest thing to a horror film that Marvel's going to get. So I'm very curious to see if that actually pans out the way that they said it would. So those are my top 3. But of course, Scream as well. And even Evil Dead Rises. I'm curious as to see what they're going to do with that.
I'm so behind on what's coming horror-wise that I completely forgot about Nope as well. And that's one I'm really excited for.
Get that master list out, playa.
Hello.
Oh, okay. What happened to Obscure? I thought we were doing
Let's
that.
do it.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Oh, my bad. Let me scroll back up. And I totally skipped the most obscure recommendation, and that would have been for me Silent Night, because I never would even thought twice of watching it. based on the cover. It looks like a Christmas movie, and I wouldn't have even read the synopsis because I'm like, all right, Christmas, don't need to watch it. And then Sam and Joe watched it and said I need to watch it, so I watched it.
Glad you enjoyed it,
watched
Todd.
it. Yep.
It's good.
So mine's gonna be Slacks because I feel like if you've ever worked retail, you would enjoy it.
That was a wild one. I'm gonna go one that made at least Todd's list, and that is Bloody Hell. Really enjoyed that one, and it's just such a fun ride.
And I'm gonna go Sam and Maddie Make a Zombie Movie. If you're gonna watch one movie of everything I talked about, it would be that one. And I hear like no one ever talk about it, so I think it's a shame because I think it's an absolute must-watch for all horror fans.
Agreed. I definitely agreed. Alrighty, are we ready? 2021 Ultimate List.
Do it.
Here we go,
Let's do it.
ladies and gentlemen.
Ready? Do we want to guess what's gonna be a number one? Each of us think what number one's gonna be.
If you'd like.
I think the overall number one will be Candyman.
I think it'll be Malignant.
What do I think? I don't know. I'll just go with Ghostbusters, I guess.
Alrighty. Well, let's see. Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the 2021 Ultimate Master List, we had 16 total lists. 58 different movies received a vote. Now, in comparison to our 2020 Master List, 78 different movies received a vote. So a big drop down this year in the amount of movies receiving votes. And then of all of the 58 movies, 7 of those 58 movies received a first place vote. In comparison, from 2020, 13 different movies received a first place vote in 2020. So I think that is a telling sign of the difference between 2020 and 2021, based just on the quality alone. But all right, let's get into it. Coming in, honorable mentions. So I decided to do 3 honorable mentions here. So first honorable mention goes to Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland was on 6 of the 16 ballots and peaked at 1 third place vote. Second honorable mention goes to the Fear Street trilogy. So what I did with this is, obviously all the Fear Street movies got, different ones. So I decided to combine all of the votes. Still didn't make the top 10, but it did make an honorable mention. It was on 5 of the 16 ballots, receiving 44 votes and peaked with 1 fourth place vote. And the last honorable mention goes to Antlers. Antlers received 44 points as well, was on 3 of the 16 ballots, and peaked with 1 second place vote. So, all right, those are your honorable mentions. So let's get into it. Our top 10 movies of 2021. Coming in at number 10 is The Nighthouse. The Nighthouse was on 5 of 16 ballots, receiving 46 points and peaking with 1 third place vote. Coming in at number 9, Last Night in Soho. Last Night in Soho was on 5 of the 16 ballots, receiving 52 points, and peaked with 1 second place vote. Coming in at number 8, Blood Red Sky. Blood Red Sky was on 5 of the 16 ballots, receiving 54 points and peaking with 1 fourth place vote. Coming in at number 7, Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills was on 5 of the 16 ballots, receiving a total of 68 points and peaking with 1 second place vote. Coming in at number 6, A Quiet Place Part 2. A Quiet Place Part 2 was on 5 of the 16 ballots, receiving 70 points and peaking with 1 first place vote, which I believe was Sam's. Alrighty. Coming in at number 5, I think the first big surprise, as it was not on none of our lists, but it makes the number 5, and that is Psycho Gorman. Psycho Gorman received 84 points, was on 5 of the 16 ballots, and received 2 first place votes. Coming in.
Can't get over that performance. I just can't.
Same for me. Like one performance ruined that entire movie for me.
I do want to play Crazy Ball though. I'm down with that.
Alrighty, coming in at number 4, Vicious Fun. Vicious Fun was on 7 of the 16 ballots, receiving 90 points, and peaked with 1 second place vote. All right, top 3, ladies and gentlemen. What do you guys think so far?
The 3 we mentioned, probably. The 3 we each thought would be number 1.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at number 3 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterlife was on 6 of the 16 ballots, receiving 110 points, but it did receive the most first place votes with 5 first place votes.
Would have won if you would have added it to your list, Joe.
Yeah.
Actually, it would not. It would not have. Coming in at even if I had it at number 1, it would have surpassed this movie, which is our number 2 movie, and that is Candyman. Candyman was on 10 of the 16 ballots, receiving 112 points and peaking with 1 second place vote, which leads us to our number 1 movie of the year. And it was an absolute runaway, folks, not even close. And that is Malignant. Malignant was on 13 of the 16 ballots, receiving 182 points, a near 70 points ahead of Candyman, and peaked with 2 first place votes. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Your top 10. What are you guys' initial reactions?
Good job with the list, Joe. I like the peaking and stuff. I personally are probably further away from this overall one, but I can see where people. I just Psycho Gorman. I'm not. That's the only one I'm like, no.
That is a surprise. That was my biggest surprise too, and I am actually surprised Malignant got number 1. I really thought Ghostbusters was going to get it, but it was left off a lot of the ballots. I think for the same reason.
Yeah, I
Soho,
think
I agree with. Sorry. I agree with Sam when she shook her head on Soho being low too. I don't think enough people saw it. I don't think
so either.
It came out late in the year, you know. And I think Ghostbusters has a mix of A, people don't consider it horror, and B, it also came out late in the year and it's still only in theaters. So you couldn't even see it VOD up until now, and not everyone's comfortable going to theaters, so makes sense. Yep.
Psycho Gorman, really, guys?
It received, got
some cool aspects. But...
I mean, and it's cool and fun, but
yeah, number 5 it's high, definitely. But I mean, everyone that did have it on their list had it very high.
What was 4?
Number 4 was Vicious Fun, which was a very good movie. It just
which
I
one
don't
is
think you
that
saw
one?
that one, Sam.
The serial
is that
killer,
the amusement
AA group, kind of.
Okay, so that's like a comedy one.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
I
have to check it out.
me and Todd obviously really liked it. So
Yeah.
I gave it number 2.
Yeah. Any other stats there, Joe, of that you can throw out?
I mean, I can go over some movies that came very close to making the list. One being The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It made 4 of the lists, and just missed out on an honorable mention. One that Todd had mentioned was the amusement park. The amusement park did receive a first place vote and a second place vote. So it wasn't on many lists, but the 2 lists it was on, it received very high marks. What else we got here?
Any movies that made number 1 on someone's list that you didn't mention yet?
Yeah, Saint Maud. Saint Maud was only on 2 lists. Mine, and I'm not sure who else put it on there, but shout out to them. They had it very low though, number 9. So I know
That's
a lot
me.
of people weren't considering it. Okay, that was you then. Okay,
Right,
so me and you were the only 2 that had on the list. I feel like I saw it wasn't making a lot of lists because a lot of people didn't consider it a 2021 release. Because it came out. It's listed as a 2019 release, but it did not hit the United States until 2021 because of COVID. So I think it definitely is why that it gets a 2021 release. Me and Todd both had Titan very high, and we were the only 2 that had it on our list. No one else. I think that's another movie, Todd, no one has seen yet. Yeah, so that's why. And then just some movies. Army of the Dead got a good amount of love on here, making 4 of the lists. And then it was just like a whole hodgepodge of like single votes. Like I said, not a lot of movies like received multiples this year. It was definitely a down year for horror. I think we've all said that, and we've all pretty much agreed with it. Yeah, but a couple others that, maybe deserve some credit. Jacob's Wife actually was on 3 of the ballots, but all very high, all within everyone's top 5 that did put it on their list. And also another movie I'd never heard of, The Trip. The Trip was only on 2 lists, but both in people's top 5s, which I believe were your friends, Todd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was probably doesn't count if you think about it, because it was a con screening.
Okay.
So probably hasn't hit wide release yet.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, other than that, The Medium received a few, but all high on people's lists within their top 5s. And then just like a whole bunch of single votes for movies. Lamb, another one that I'm the only one that put it in my top 10 list. Someone put The Unholy very high on their list, which was on Steve's. I think, was that on a disappointment list for you, Steve?
Yeah.
I believe.
I didn't hate
that
it.
made on someone's list. Yeah, right. One that we actually interviewed the director from, The Last Matinee, which me and Steve interviewed the director of, that made someone's top 4. So that was a very good slasher. I'd actually recommend that to Todd. I think Todd would enjoy that one quite a bit. And Forever Purge didn't do very well. And one that Sam actually really enjoyed is The Stylist. That ended up making someone's list. I know she was toying with putting it on her top 10. And that's really about it. Oh, Until Death. That's one I have never heard of. I think, is that the Megan Fox movie?
Yeah, I feel like I saw it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
who put that on the list? Don't put this in the podcast.
I don't know who, but it did make it got their second place vote.
Wow. Yeah, that's the one where she's like tied to
Second
a body
place?
for the whole
second place. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you see what their first one was, or no?
I mean, I'd have to go through.
Don't worry.
I can tell you. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm curious for everyone, do you have like little stats for your own list? Like, do you know approximately how many horror movies you've seen this year and things that stand out in your list and stuff? Yeah. So I'd be interested to find that out too.
Not as many as Steve, not as many as Todd, not as many as Joe, but more than I've seen more than I did last year.
11 or 12, all of them in the top 10. I actually keep stats of a lot of things. I like spreadsheets and stuff. I know that's another old thing I do, apparently. But I read 71 books this year, which is a personal best. Nowhere close to Eric, who's at like a fucking 150 by this point, bastard.
That's amazing.
And I watched 210 movies, and probably like half of those are horror. I only did a total movies watch.
Nice. For my based on my Letterboxd, I only do horror movies on Letterboxd, and it has me at 120, like 1 or 22 for the year. So that's where I'm at for horror. Not all 2021 releases, but a good chunk of them definitely 2021 releases.
Yeah, and I finished at 106 2021 horror movies this year. Most of it in the last 2 months. I watched a fuck ton the last 2 months. And I will, for those on the Discord, after a couple weeks of this episode being out, release my ranking of all 106 of them.
Ooh.
Wow.
How are you not ranking out here?
Steve. You're just swinging that ding-a-ling around saying, look at my horror ratings.
You watched 75? That's cute.
I know.
And I will say, interesting stat, because we decided this year not to do worst of the year anymore. More disappointing. But I had my only ever, since I started the podcast, 1 out of 10. Usually my lowest is like 2 or 3 out of 10. But this one was a pure like garbage, and it's called Sin, which was probably on Tubi. I don't remember, but it was by far the worst movie I've ever seen since we launched the podcast. So avoid.
Steve, I feel like. So wait, who has seen the most horror films out of the 3 of you, Steve or Todd or Joe?
So I only counted.
I think
I only counted 2021 films, which is 106. Okay. I probably saw like.
That's a lot. So what is your, like, who had the best horror films on the platforms that you watched them on? Like Shudder, Tubi, Netflix, like whatever you used. What do you think had the best options?
So if I'm looking at just my like top few here, Netflix, honestly, Netflix and Shudder probably had the two best ones, because Netflix had so let's see, for Netflix films, we had Blood Red Sky was on Netflix, Army of the Dead was on Netflix, then Shudder had Queen of Black Magic, Vicious Fun, Medium, I forget if it's Netflix or Shudder. Between
Shudder.
those, was it Shudder?
It's Shudder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amusement Park was Shudder, so maybe Shudder as well. Tubi, the thing with Tubi is that Tubi filled a lot of my like mid to bottom list. Tubi is more one you have to look for gems. You know, you'll find them once in a while, but it's got really indie stuff. You know, so I appreciate those films. I'm happy to watch them, but it's rare that I'll find something on Tubi that will make my top 20.
Mm-hmm. I gotta ask, like, why do you think Malignant was the runaway this year? Do you think it was just the uniqueness of it?
I think the uniqueness. I think a lot of people saw it because it came out a while ago. Yeah, I just about it. It also, now, if I'm going off memory, it's one of the first films to come out in theaters, wasn't it? Like this year, after theaters started reopening and movies started coming out again. So I think a lot of people went to see it. So that just, I think it like timing.
I think
had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah,
and
I think word of mouth too.
Yeah, word of mouth. And then also just, I don't know. Like, I feel like with Spiral, it was such a letdown, and Conjuring was such a letdown. So, like, it's just always, it was like the same old movie, where Malignant was really like something different.
Now, a question I have for you guys. So, was Malignant also a home release, or was it theater only? I don't remember.
It was HBO Max.
HBO Max. Okay, see, because we don't have HBO Max, I don't know. So I was curious if that had anything to do with it.
I think
they were pretty much all HBO Max at first. I know Saw came out, or Spiral came out quickly. Conjuring came out quickly. So
yeah, I think also this is the first year none of us had the number one movie as like the number one movie on an ultimate list too.
Right.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Do we all have it? No, Todd didn't have it. You didn't have it on your list, eh, Malignant?
Number 10.
Yeah,
Number 10.
we all had it on our list at least.
Yeah, the only one I saw in the theater this year was Ghostbusters, actually. Everything else was streaming.
I feel like that makes the difference too. Like if you watch it at home. Well, not on Todd and Steve's movie setup that they have at home. Maybe now I'll feel different since we have
TV. That's cute.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll feel differently since we got a bigger TV now.
You will, definitely.
I think mood and setting plays a big part. That's why when I told Joe to watch the medium, I told him watch it in the dark, because it's one of those movies that is just scary. So I think you lose a little bit if it's in the light, and if you're looking at your phone, you know, like that's what I like about the theaters is I'm a notorious like looking at my phone if the movie slows down at all, and sometimes I'm like I regret it because then I don't feel I saw the movie as well as I could have. Whereas in theaters, it has my full attention. I try to be better at that, but sometimes I just can't help it, you know. So
you should just put the phone like upstairs when you're watching a movie.
Yeah, maybe a 2022 thing. That'll be a thing where I'm gonna try to, when I watch a movie, to give it my full attention.
Yeah.
Buy one of those lock boxes and then like just set it for
with
how
a
long
timer.
the movie is.
Yeah.
Sorry, boss, I didn't answer my phone because I've locked it in a box. Is that a wrap?
I think so.
That's a wrap, I think.
No, time for 2020. I am not doing this again for 2022. I'm telling you,
dude. I don't know how you didn't get burned out. Like
I did by the end. Like I have a stack of stuff that I want to watch that isn't 2021. You know, and I just kept putting it off, and then by the end, I was kind of just doing it as a chore for my own personal like goal. Not doing it again. Yeah, I mean, I'll watch a ton of 2020 film. I'm sure of it, but I'm not gonna like do a massive push for 2 months. I'll do a last push for like 3 weeks or something at the like this.
Steve, did you watch Titan as well?
No, and that's a big problem with your list for me personally. A lot of the movies you guys mentioned aren't available in Canada. So Titan, Come True, Blood Vessel, or was it Blood Vessel or something along those lines?
I watched Blood Vessel, but it was terrible.
What was the one you Blood something?
Bloody Fun.
Yeah,
Bloody Hell.
Bloody Hell. That's right. That's what I meant. Bloody Hell. a lot of those movies aren't available, or they're super expensive rental, like $25 rental. So I'm gonna watch a lot of those early next year, I hope. But I'm sad, like I missed. Here, I actually have a list of the movies that I'm sad that I missed. Let's see here. So Bloody Hell, Censor, Come True, Queen of Spades is something that someone recommended to me.
You didn't miss much with that one, man.
No? Okay. The Deep House, Lamb, Last Night in Soho, Antlers, and The Empty Man are all movies that, and Titan. That's all movies that I wanted to watch, but I just couldn't for whatever reason.
What about Sam and Todd? Is there like a movie you heard tonight that you're like, I'm gonna watch that next, or like I'm most excited to watch that based on like everyone's
Censor,
list?
And then there's one that starts with a T or has a T in it.
Titan.
I don't know. Oh, heck no.
Titan again.
Like
Come True.
Or Come True.
Come True.
Censor for me, I almost bought it from this little indie developer in England that does really good Blu-rays, but I'm like, do I want to blind buy a $30 thing that I don't know if I like? So Censor is probably the biggest one.
Sam, did you watch Sam and Maddie make a zombie movie?
No, I was gonna. So is it a real movie?
It's a documentary.
Yeah.
It is a documentary, like a real documentary.
A real documentary, yeah.
Oh,
You'd
well,
find
then
it cute.
it'll probably
You'd find
make me
it cute.
cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely make Sam cry. Yeah.
I cry at everything.
But it's so good. It's so worth, everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's on Amazon Prime too, I believe, so you can watch it on there.
Okay. All right, guys. So that's going to be a wrap on 2021. Thanks for all the lists. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to Steve. Thanks to Todd. Thanks to myself, everyone. Next week, we will be doing a winter movie. We're going to have a vote for it, but by the time you hear this, the vote's already going to be decided. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. Check out our Discord. It's always a great time over there. And thank you so much for listening, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.